Hi, welcome back. Day 24. And I'm not in the best mood at the moment, so bear with me. And if it does look like I'm in a good mood, here's a little secret. All you have to do is just smile. Smile no matter what. If you're feeling down, if you catch yourself in a bad mood or in a situation, it may sound crazy, but it works. I don't know why it works. I don't know how it works, but all you have to do is literally just smile. Give your widest smile, and your mood will just start to improve. Anyways, it's going to be kind of ironic because I don't know what I'm doing. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I don't know what I'm doing in life. I don't know what I'm doing in general. And that's not to say it's a bad thing, and I'll get more to it, but I kind of want to make this video more of a journal entry. So it's going to be as close as it's going to get to me actually journaling and it being up on YouTube, if that makes sense. So this is how I am when I talk in the car, which is where I do most of my journaling on video anyways, because it is a time where I don't necessarily prefer to listen to music. I do like to be in my own thoughts. Sometimes I listen to music, but a lot of the times I like to drive with no music on and just sit there with my thoughts. And to take it up a notch, I journal. So that's what I've been doing for most of the time if I'm ever by myself, because I'm not going to be doing it with people in the car with me, right? So yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I have this sort of goal. I have goals. I have, like a step-by-step framework on what I should be doing now, because before I did not know. I was just doing whatever's. But having a plan, having a goal is very important. And sometimes you don't know where you're going. Sometimes you don't know what the outcome is exactly, especially when you're in a line of creative work like content creation, because yeah, you want to grow your personal brand. You want to make this amount of income, make this amount of money, but you don't know when it's going to actually happen, right? And that's the tough part. That's the scary part. But you just got to kind of trust in the process. And as long as you are doing everything to the best of your ability, you're making the best use of your time, you're being as efficient as possible, then everything is going to work out. And I think one of the most important things is to not give up. I've talked about this before. I've said this a lot of times during this challenge, is to just not give up, because sometimes you don't even put your 100% effort into a thing and you just give up. Sometimes you don't do it for long enough. You don't do it consistently enough. And it feels like you never even tried, which is worse in a way than suffering through the pain of getting to where you want to be. I've been watching a lot of motivational content, can you tell? And I kind of want to change the subject a little bit and sort of tell you, I guess I'm journaling to myself, or a younger version of myself, but you should just be mindful of the things you consume. And it's very easy to consume these days, especially with a phone in your hand. You have so many social media apps where you can just mindlessly scroll on random things and just consume. So you got to be careful of what you consume, because it can suck up a lot of your time. It can influence your thinking. And if you're always looking at memes and stuff, and I know there's nothing wrong to an extent in moderation, but we're all aware, we all know that looking at memes doesn't really add any sort of value to our lives. And just think about it. If you're always wasting your time and not doing anything fulfilling, maybe that's one of the reasons why you are not feeling your best. Maybe that's a reason why that you're feeling down. So I've talked about this before, to where your diet has to be on point, what you consume, your exercise, your sleep, the amount of sunlight that you get in, but it's also what you consume. So not only what you take in physically, but what you take in emotionally and subconsciously as well. Because if you're always taking in memes and you're wasting your precious, valuable time on things that you're just not going to even remember, and just getting those cheap dopamine hits, then you're not going to be able to feel any sort of fulfillment in your life. And sorry, I got really distracted. Let me put my phone in vibrate and flip it over, because I don't want to get distracted. I'm looking at the time. We're at 6 minutes. But just think about it. If you're always, this is just an example, if you're always thinking negatively, you're kind of training your subconscious to think negatively. And it seems very self-explanatory at first, but sometimes you are not even aware of what you're doing. And so what has helped me is to just always be grateful for things, always make sure to always be grateful. And it's going to take a little bit of time at first, but once you get it to a subconscious level, instead of your mind pointing straight to like a negative thought when something bad happens to you, then instead of that happening, your mind goes to something completely positive, and your mind looks for things to learn from, instead of putting you in a place where you're suffering and you're like, oh man, why did this happen to me? I don't want to do this anymore. Instead of that, it's like, oh man, okay, I learned from this. Here's what I can do better next time. I hope I'm explaining this clearly, but it all ties up to what you consume, right? If you're always consuming things that, like random memes that don't provide any sort of value to your life, instead of you watching maybe even documentaries. I like watching these sorts of educational videos on YouTube and motivational videos. And although see, this is where it gets kind of complicated. Instead, it's like there's steps, right? So instead of you consuming those videos, you consume better videos that will feed your mind with better things so that you can become a better person, a smarter person. And it only goes up to a certain point, because if you're in that stage of consuming and not acting or creating, you're still kind of stuck. So there's different phases, if that makes sense, because you can't be stuck on just consuming all the time, even if you're consuming the quote unquote correct information, the correct knowledge. Because if you're not applying it, if you're not using the knowledge that you have in order to do something about it, then you're not really going to get anywhere in life. So that would be the next step. But again, you got to focus on one thing at a time. So be mindful of what you are consuming. Dude, this is getting like I'm going to all sorts of different topics, and maybe I'm talking about this because I had a pretty deep conversation with friends last night, and it just got me thinking. And some of the stuff that I'm saying here are things that I've said in the conversation last night. But it's very interesting to think about. I think people would find value from what I have to say, if anyone is listening. Shout out to you, Dad, for always being here. But that's really all I wanted to talk about. Dude, we are almost done with this challenge. Once May is over, this is when I'm going to be stopping. And I'm still going to be creating content, don't get me wrong. But I want to make more meaningful content. This is that step that's getting me to where I want to be. And I just have to take the next step, which would be to create more meaningful, more valuable videos, because now I'm creating them consistently. I have to put in the work, take the next step, and that's how it should be in life. You should always be constantly improving, and even if you're going through rough patches in your life, it's going to be okay, because there are going to be times where you just feel down. There are going to be times where it feels like you've been set back, but it's just a part of life. And you'll learn to see the beauty in the negative parts of your life as well. So, oh, we're at 11 minutes now. My nose is itchy. I just want to let you know, whoever you are, if you are still here watching me, listening to me talk about some random things, about things that I find valuable, that I think things that you would find valuable as well, I really, 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 really appreciate you. As of right now, my analytics aren't looking too good. They're doing good. They're doing better than they were before. Like, there's a slight improvement. They're still not good. And I know that the analytics aren't everything. Your subscriber count isn't everything. Your views, the amount of revenue that you're making isn't everything. But I really appreciate you, because I feel as though there are still a couple of people that do watch my videos through and through, that truly care about the things that I have to say. So, if you have made it this far, this one's for you. Thanks for listening.